Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 7 reporters. Today, we will discuss Module 7, Curricular Reforms in Education that Sir Jeffrey Legaspi assigned to us. My name is Benedict Peru, and I'm the first reporter, so let's move on. The topic that we're going to discuss is 7.1, Outcome-Based Education for Teacher Preparation Curriculum. Now, let's move on to the learning outcomes. First, define what is outcome-based education as this apply to teacher education. Second, analyze the four principles in outcome-based education. Third, describe how teaching and learning relate to OBE. Fourth, explain how the achieved learning outcome will be assessed. And lastly, we have summarized the prospective teacher's roles and responsibilities in implementation of the OBE. So now let's move on to the definition of outcome-based education or OBE. Among many advocates of OBE in the early years was W. Spady in 1994. He defined OBE as clearly focusing and organizing everything in educational system around the essential for all the students to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So si Spady is dinefine niya yung OBE as clearly focusing and organizing everything in educational system. So dapat nag-start tayo sa clear picture kung ano yung importante para sa mga students na matutunan nila. Ang process dito is yung pag-organize ng curriculum, kasama na dito yung instruction and assessment na magagawa to make sure that learning happens. Now, let's move on to, again, definition of outcome-based education or OBE. This definition clearly points to the desired results of education, which are the learning outcomes. These are made of kusa. So, yung OBE is, ayun nga, dapat malinaw yung pinupunto niya sa desired results of education, which is yung learning outcomes or learning competencies na needed to achieve ng mga students. So, sa mga lesson plan natin, meron tayong learning competency and learning outcomes. Meron tayong cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. Yung tatlong yon kailangan ma-achieve. So, ano nga ba yung KUSA or KUSA? So, KUSA, knowledge. First, we have knowledge. Second is understanding. Third is skills. And lastly, we have attitude. So, yung KUSA or knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitudes is kailangan ma-acquire ng mga students para magkaroon sila ng full potential at saka maging mabuting individual sila sa loob ng community, sa loob or labas ng community natin. Dapat nila ma-achieve or ma-acquire yung apat na yan. Again, KUSA or KUSA is stand for knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitudes. Now let's move on. To define and clarify further, answers to the following question should be addressed by the teacher. So para maging malinaw ang lahat, kailangan natin sagutin to as a teacher. So first one, we have what do we want these students to learn? Siyempre, bukod sa trabaho natin na turuan sila, kailangan din natin bigyan sila ng knowledge about sa iba't ibang mga bagay. Like, kailangan natin sila turuan or kailangan nila matuto ng combination of foundational academic knowledge. Meaning, dapat meron na silang pundasyon para sa susunod nilang mga learning pa. And isa na dito yung critical thinking skills nila. Kailangan din mahasa. And next is effective communication. Kailangan din yan. And lastly, we have the ability to collaborate with others. Or kailangan niya makipag-collaborate or interact sa kanyang mga classmates. So next one is we have why do we want students to learn these things? Okay, so we want students to learn these things so they can understand the world around them para makapag-isip sila sa sarili nila. Bukod doon, pwede sila maka-communicate effectively. So, sa pag-communicate na effectively, magiging mabuti yung pakikisama nila sa iba't ibang tao. So, these skills really help them to succeed in school, at work, at syempre sa mga buhay din nila. So, let's proceed. So, next one is question number 3. How can we best help students to learn these things? So, paano nga ba? So, to help students to learn these things, we should provide engaging a practical lesson. Kaya gumagawa tayo ng lesson plan. Gumagawa tayo ng mga learning competencies or learning outcomes para sa mga students natin para ma-acquire nila at ma-achieve nila yon at the end of the session or lessons. So, bukod doon, kailangan natin sila encourage and bigyan ng supportive environment. As a teachers or parents in the community, we can play a role by being positive models. So sa pagiging positive role models natin is na-adapt din nila yon. As a teachers, kailangan din natin mag-offer ng guidance kasi tayo yung pangalawang magulang nila sa kanilang paaralan. And ma-emphasize din nila yung real-world application of what students are learning. So, kung ano yung natutunan nila or yung learnings nila sa loob ng school is pwede nilang i-apply sa labas ng paaralan. So, bukod doon, pwede natin silang ma-help through different approaches and strategies in teaching. Meron tayong visual approach, meron tayong multimedia approach, and meron tayong gamification approach. Kapag sinabi natin gamification approach, meaning parang ginagawa nating laro yung isang activity. So, nag-enjoy na sila at the same time natututo sila. So, dun sa mga approaches and strategies na ginagawa natin as a teachers, kailangan natin maging creative at maging innovative para hindi maging boring yung klase at saka matuto ang ating mga students. So, let's proceed to question. So, let's move on in question number 4. How will you know when the students have learned? So, madali lang yan. Malalaman lang natin if yung mga students natin is natuto through the evaluation, like tests, quizzes, or seat works. So, bukod sa evaluation, pwede rin natin gamitin yung generalization. Pwede tayong magpa-conduct ng reflection or pwede rin tayong mag-conduct ng assessment para malaman natin kung natuto sila by knowing the result of those activity ng evaluation, assessment, or generalization. So sa mga pagkakandak ng ganon, makikita natin kung ginamit ba nila yung natutunan nila about dun sa topic na diniscuss natin. So, dun natin malalaman kung natuto ba yung students natin. So, let's move on. Study premise that in outcome-based education, first is all students can learn and succeed but not at the same time or in the same way. So, ano yung, alamin muna natin kung ano yung premise. Kapag sinabi natin premise is kung ano yung naging batayan niya. So, ano yung naging batayan ni study sa outcome-based education? First is, all students can learn and succeed, but not at the same time or in the same way. This means that everyone can learn and do well, but each person learns at their own pace and in their own unique way. Kaya, laging sinasabi din ng mga teachers na walang taong bobo, lahat kayang matuto. Pero hindi nga lang pare-parehas kasi may mga students na mabagal matuto, may ibang mabilis, may ibang students na natututo kapag nanonood ng video or nakikita nila kung ano yung ginagawa, mga ganong instances. So people might understand things at different times or prepare different ways of learning. And syempre, yun nga, that's okay kasi normal lang naman yung ganun na may mabagal talagang natututo at may mabilis na matututo. May different approaches talaga or iba-iba talaga tayo ng pamamaraan. So, next one is successful learning promotes even more successful learning. Dito is when you do well in learning something, it makes it easier to learn more things successfully. Success is in learning builds on itself. So, kapag natututo ka, parang namomotivate ka pa lalo para matuto ulit sa mga math topics na may mga problem solving. Kapag nag-gets mo na siya and natutunan mo na siya, parang nagiging gutom ka pa para mag-solve ulit. Parang ganun, namomotivate ka or na-encourage ka na mag-solve ulit or matuto ulit. Next one is schools and teachers control the condition that will determine if the students are successful in learning. So, yun nga, teachers and schools, meron silang malaking role in helping students to do well in their learning. So, sa schools, they can make sure that classroom are good place for learning. So sa teachers naman is mag-provide ng interesting lessons and offer support when students need help. By creating a positive and supportive environment, teachers and schools can increase the chances of students being successful in their studies. So, kaya nga, yung schools and teachers is malaking impact talaga yan or malaki yung role nila through helping the students. So, sa schools is nagpo-provide siya ng classroom para magkaroon ng good place yung mga students. Sa teachers naman is dapat maging siyang creative or innovative para matuto yung mga estudyante sa mga iba't ibang lesson, mga different approaches or strategies, mga ganon. So, next one is, okay, dito na tayo sa 4 essential principle in OBE or outcome-based education. In order to comply with the 3 premises, 4 essential principles should be followed in either planning instruction, teaching, and assessing learning. So, yung 3 premises na diniscuss ko kanina is yung naging batayan ni Spady sa OBE. Yun yung 3 premises. Okay. So, iba naman itong 4 essential principle. So, pwedeng siyang mag-follow in either planning instruction, teaching, and assessing learning. So, let's proceed to principle number 1. So, principle number 1 is the clarity of focus. A clear focus on what teachers want students to learn is the primary principle in OBE or outcome-based education. Teachers should bear in mind that the outcome of teaching is learning. So, dito tayo sa keyword na clarity of focus. A clear focus on what teachers want students to learn. So, gumagawa na tayo ng lesson plan, di ba? So, tayo gumagawa ng learning competency or learning outcome. So, doon sa learning outcome na yon, meron ulit tayong 3. Yung 3 yon is cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. So, kapag magkaroon na tayo ng clear focus doon, na-apply na rin natin yung principle number 1, which is yung clarity of focus. Pero lagi nating tatandaan as a teacher na ang outcome ng teaching is learning. So, kapag magtuturo tayo, is yung result nun dapat learning lang. So, let's move on to principle number 2, designing backwards. This principle is related to the first. At the beginning of the curriculum design, the learning outcome has to be clearly defined. Okay. So, sa designing backward is, yun nga, related siya sa first one. So, at the beginning of curriculum design pa lang to So, the learning outcome has to be clearly defined. So, as I said earlier, do sa principle number 1 is tayo gumagawa ng learning competencies or learning outcomes. So, dapat clearly defined or malinaw dapat yon siya. Kasi once na nalagay natin yung tatlong outcome na yon is dapat ma-achieve natin yon throughout the lesson. Huwag tayong maglalagay ng outcome doon na hindi natin kayang i-achieve. Dapat always ma-achieve natin yon at the end of the lesson. So, yung mga learning outcomes na yon is yun yung mga ano dapat matutunan ng mga students or kung ano yung matutunan nila at the end of the lesson. So, yun yung principle number 2. Lagi natin tatandaan na learning outcome has to be clearly defined. So, let's proceed. Let's move on to principle 3, high expectations. Establishing high expectations, challenging standards of performance will encourage the students to learn better. So, halos same lang siya sa premises ni Spadi, which is yung successful learning promotes even more successful learning. So, as a teachers, we need to set high expectation and challenging goals for our students. So, to motivate them to learn better. Parang game lang yan. Like, kapag binigyan mo sila ng mahirap na challenges or activity, magiging excited sila or mamomotivate sila para matuto or matapos yung activity na yon. Next one. So let's move on. Again, principle 3 ulit tayo, high expectations. Spadi in 1994 mentioned it is linked to the premise that successful learning promotes more successful learning. As I said earlier na halos same lang siguro sila. Again, successful learning is yung kapag natuto ka sa isang topic, is nagiging motivated ka at ma-encourage ka na matuto ulit. Kaya, napopromote nito yung even more successful learning. So, let's move on to principle 3, high expectations. So, this is parallel to Thorndike's law of effect, which says that success reinforced learning motivates, build confidence, and encourage the learners to do better. So, ano nga ba yung Thorndike's law of effect? Kapag may ginawa kang mabuti, bibigyan ka ng something good na reward. Kapag nagkamali ka naman or nag-fail ka sa activity, bibigyan ka ng punishment. So, sa next na activity, hindi ka na rin makikipag-cooperate. Parang ganun yung Thorndike's law of effect. So, same dito, pero mag-focus tayo sa successful or yung sa good way ng Thorndike's law of effect. So, kapag magkaroon yung students natin ng successful learning, ma-encourage sila to do better para mag-aral ulit. Mo-motivate sila para magbigay pa ng malaking effort sa bagay na yon. At lastly, yun nga, pinakamalaking bagay which is mag-build up sila ng confidence para gumawa sa mga activity or para matuto ulit ng ibang bagay. So, next one is sa principle 4 na tayo, expanded opportunities. In OBE or outcome-based education, students are expected to excel. Hence, equal expanded opportunity should be provided. As advocate of multiple intelligence say, every child has a genius in him or herself, hence is capable of doing the best. Everyone is expected to do well naman. So, equal opportunities are crucial. Those who spent multiple intelligence believe that every child has unique talents and can excel when provided with the right chances. So mga student natin is may mga iba't ibang skills or talents. So dapat bigyan sila natin ng equal opportunities or dapat mas expand or broad pa doon para magawa nila yung mga bagay na kaya nilang gawin. Teaching learning in OBE. Teaching is teaching if learners learn. Learning is measured by its outcome. Whatever approach to teaching is used, the intent should focus on learning rather than on teaching. So yun nga, kapag magtuturo tayo, is yung result nun is learn. So learning is measured by its outcome, yung learning competencies or learning outcomes na sineset natin. So kung ano yung product ng teaching or ano yung teaching approaches na ginagawa natin, ang end up result nun is learning para sa mga student natin. So next one is teaching, learning, and OBE again. Subjects do not exist in isolation, but links between them should be made. It is important that students learn how to learn, hence the teacher should be innovative. So yun nga, subjects aren't separate, they are connected. It's important to students to understand how things link up. So yun nga, crucial sa mga student natin kung paano matuto. So, nandito tayong mga guro para maging creative at innovative. Para makakita tayo ng new ways to teach, like mga approaches and strategies, para matuto sila. Teaching and learning in OBE again, how then should teaching learning be done in OBE? Here are some tips. Teacher must prepare students adequately. This can be done if the teachers know what they want the students to learn and what learning outcomes to achieve. Prerequisite knowledge is important, thus a review is necessary at the start of a lesson. So, kapag sinabi natin adequate is specific need or requirement, yun yung adequate. So, teachers to connect subjects and help students learn how to learn. They first need a clear idea of what they want students to learn. It's like having a roadmap, yung curriculum, di ba? Crucial yon kasi parang mag-i-start tayo ng new chapter para matuto sila by reviewing what they learned. Kaya may review tayo sa part ng lesson plan natin. So, before diving into new lesson, kailangan natin silang i-review para matest yung knowledge nila about dun sa previous topic. Next one is teacher must create a positive learning environment. Students should feel that regardless of individual uniqueness, the teacher is always there to help. Teacher and student relationship is very important. The classroom atmosphere should provide respect for diverse kind of learners. So dito naman is, ayun nga, as a teacher, kailangan natin magbigay ng creative, positive learning environment. Kailangan malinis ang ating classroom first. And syempre, yung atmosphere ng classroom natin is open to all para para hindi nagdi-divide ang mga students natin, like yung iba matahimik, yung iba maingay, ganun. Dapat nakikisama ang lahat. Next one is teacher must help their students to understand what they have to learn, why should learn it, what use it will be now and in the future, and how will they know that they have learned. So again, is trabaho naman natin as a teacher na tulungan natin ang students natin to understand. Kaya nagka-come up tayo ng mga different approaches and strategies para matuto ang ating mga students. And teacher must use a variety of teaching methods. The most appropriate strategy should be used taking into account the learning outcomes. Teacher want the students achieve also to consider are the contents, the characteristic of the students, the resources available, and the teaching skill of the teacher. Yun nga, para matuto yung mga student natin, hindi lang iisa yung ginagamit nating strategy. Dapat iba-iba. Mag-come up tayo ng mga iba't ibang strategy and approaches para hindi maging boring tingnan ang ating class. So, sa mga approaches na yon and strategies is matututo ang ating mga learners sa mga contents, resources na available, or lalong-lalo na sa skill ng isang teacher. Next is teacher must provide students with enough opportunity to use the new knowledge and skills they gained. When students do this, they can explore with new learning, correct errors, and adjust their thinking. Application of learning is encouraged rather than mere accumulation of this. So yun nga, kapag yung mga students natin is nag-explore ng new things, pwede nilang ma-fix ang kanilang mistake or errors dati. Ma-adapt din nila yung thinking nila para ma-use nila yon in different activities then. It's like their own adventure of learning. Like, it's not about collecting facts, it's about using what they learned in real-life situation. Parang, nire-reuse lang nila yung skills na natutunan nila sa nakaraang subject at gagamitin nila ngayong subject. So, yung approach na to is parang na-apply nila yung knowledge nila instead of memorizing it. Teacher must help students to bring each learning to a personal closure that will make them aware of what they learned. So here are the additional key points in teaching learning in OBE, which show the shifts from a traditional to an OBE view. So let's proceed. The traditional view and to OBE view. Sa traditional view, we have here instruction. And sa OBE view, we have here learning. Sa traditional view naman, meron tayong inputs and resources. Pero sa OBE view, meron tayong learning outcomes. Sa traditional view, tayo yung nagtatransfer ng knowledge. Knowledge is transferred by the teacher. Pero sa OBE view, knowledge is already exists in the minds of learners. Bale, meron ng build-up knowledge ang mga learners about sa topic na yon. Hahasain lang natin. Teacher, sa traditional view naman is teacher dispense knowledge. And sa OBE view, teacher are designers of methods. Totoo dito sa OBE view kasi tayo nagka-come up ng mga approaches and strategies in teaching. Traditional view naman is teacher and students are independent and in isolation. Sa OBE view is teacher, wait lang, hindi makita, alisin muna natin to. Teacher and student are in teams. So, sa traditional view is, isolate yung teacher and students. Pero sa OBE view is teamwork. Kailangan ng teacher ang students na mag-response para mangyari yung student-centered na approach. So, that's all. And thank you for listening. And the next reporter is Nica Gevero. Thank you.
So good morning everyone, I am Nica P. Gevero and my topic is all about assessment of learning outcomes in OBE. So assessment in learning OBE should also be guided by the 4 principles of OBE, which are the clarity of focus, designing backwards, high expectations, and expanded opportunity. It should contribute to the objectives of improving student learning. Since OBE, there is a need first to establish a clear vision of what students are expected to learn, or that what we call desired learning outcomes or learning outcomes. Then assessment becomes an embedded part of the system. For to be useful in OBE system, assessment should be guided by the following principles. So the principle 1 is assessment procedure should be valid procedure and tools should assess what one intends to test. So this means that in assessment, the methods and tools used must accurately evaluate the specific knowledge, skills, or competencies that educators aim to measure within the learning outcomes. Assessment procedures in outcome-based education, or that what we call OBE, involve various steps and tools that collectively evaluate whether students have achieved the desired learning outcomes. So in principle 1, we have assessment procedures and assessment tools. For the assessment procedures, we have 7. So the first is defining learning outcomes, designing assessment, implementing assessment, collecting data, analyzing results, providing feedbacks, using result for improvement. And for the assessment tools that it could use in procedure 1 is exam or test, projects or assignments, portfolios, rubrics, observation and checklist, peer and self-assessment, and lastly, surveys or questionnaires. So in principle 2, we have assessment procedure should be reliable, the results should be consistent. So, it means reliability ensures that the results obtained from the assessment accurately represent the student's true abilities and achievements. By maintaining consistency in assessment procedures, instruction, grading, and training, educators can ensure that the results are dependable and trustworthy. So in Principle 3, we have assessment procedures should be fair. Cultural background and other factors should not influence assessment procedure. So educator can create assessment procedures that strive to be fair and inclusive, considering diverse cultural background and minimizing biases that could influence the assessment process. The goal is to provide all students with an equal opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. So we have Principle 4. Assessment should reflect the knowledge and skills that are important to the students. By aligning assessments with their students' interests, needs, and skills, educator can foster a more engaging and meaningful learning environment. Assessments that are relevant to the students not only motivate them but to learn but also to help them develop the skills and knowledge necessary for their future endeavors. So in Principle 4, we have student-centered assessment. First is relevance to the real-world applications, which is design assessment that connect classroom learning to real-life situation, making content meaningful and applicable. The second, incorporate student interest. It means that integrate topics or themes that resonate with the students' interests or experiences, making the assessment more engaging and reliable. Number 3, choice and autonomy. Offer student choice in assessment formats or topics, allowing them to demonstrate their understanding in all ways that suit their strengths and interests. Fourth, skills-based assessment. Focus assessment not only on memorization but also on evaluating critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, and other relevant skills. And for the fifth, we have feedback for growth. Provide constructive feedback that supports students' growth, emphasizing areas where they can improve their skills and understanding. And for Principle 5, assessment should tell both the teacher and student how students are progressing. By utilizing assessment as a tool for feedback and learning, both teachers and student can benefit from a deeper understanding of progress, leading to more effective teaching practice and enhanced student learning outcomes. We have learners' responsibility for learning. So, ano nga ba ang mga responsibility ng isang estudyante o isang learner? So, in OBE, students are responsible for their own learning and progress. Nobody can learn for the learner. It is only the learner himself or herself who can drive himself or herself to learn. Thus, learning is personal matter. Teacher can also facilitate that learning, define the learning outcomes to achieve and assist the student to achieve those outcomes. In this way, they will able to know whether they are learning or not. So, learning responsibility for learning. One of the great benefits of outcome-based education is that it makes students aware of what they should be learning, what they are learning, why they are learning it, what they are learning, and what they should do when they are learning. All of these conclude with the achieved learning outcomes. In terms of students' perspective, that are common questions that will guide them as they learn about OBE curriculum framework. So, to guide the students on OBE learning, they should ask themselves the following questions. So, as a student, for the question number 1, what do I have to learn? Second, why do I have to learn? Third, what will I be doing while I am learning? Fourth, how will I know that I am learning? What should be learning? And for the fifth, will I have any say in what I learn? Sixth, how will I be assessed? So that's all. Thank you.
So good morning everyone, I am Tumonas and today I am going to discuss competencies of quality teachers as mandated by the Department of Education Order Number 42S, 27 Philippines Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. So aside from the quality teachers outcomes of CHED, the Department of Education DepEd release a set of teacher competencies that are necessary for teachers who will be teaching in basic education. We shall focus first on the beginning teachers' competencies for career stage level 1. Beginning teachers are newly employed teachers who are mostly fresh graduates from the college. As a beginning teacher, you must possess competencies that will enable you to ready to employ. These competencies will strengthen those that you have mastered already in your degree course. So here are the 7 domains competencies of PPST. First domain is competencies on content knowledge and pedagogy. Content knowledge refers to a teacher expertise in the subject matter they teach, while pedagogy involves the methods and strategies used for effective teaching. A competent educator seamlessly integrates both, ensuring a deep understanding of the subject and the ability to convey it engagingly to students. Successful teaching requires a balance between content mastery and the skill to facilitate meaningful learning experience. Next domain is competencies on the learning environment. Creating a conducive learning environment involves competencies such as classroom management, fostering inclusivity, and promoting a positive atmosphere. A skilled educator establishes clear expectations, manage behavior effectively, and cultivates a safe space where students feel comfortable expressing themselves. Additionally, adapting teaching methods to diverse learning styles contributes to a dynamic supportive learning environment. Next domain is competencies on diversity of learners. Competencies related to diversity of learners encompass understanding and addressing individual differences in students. This includes recognizing various learning styles, adapting instruction to accommodate diverse needs, and promoting an inclusive and culturally responsive classroom. Effective education appreciate the unique background, experience, and abilities of their students, fostering an environment where all students can thrive. Next domain is competencies on curriculum on planning. Competencies in curriculum planning involve designing effective instructional strategies, aligning content with learning objectives, and creating a cohesive educational plan. Skilled educators consider students' needs, interest, and developmental levels when developing curriculum. This includes selecting appropriate resources, sequences content logically, and incorporating assessment strategies to gauge understanding and progress. Effective curriculum planning ensures a purposeful and organized learning experience for students. Next domain is competencies on assessment and reporting. Competencies in assessment and reporting encompass the ability to design meaningful assessments, analyze student performance data, and provide constructive feedback. Skilled educators use various assessment tools to measure understanding, track progress, and identify areas of improvement. They communicate assessment results clearly to students and parents, fostering a transparent, collaborative approach to learning. Effective assessment and reporting practices contribute to a comprehensive understanding of student development and guide instructional decisions. Next domain is competencies in community linkages and professional engagement. So, competencies in community linkages and professional engagement involve establishing connection with the broader community and actively participating in professional development. Effective educators collaborate with parents, community members, and other stakeholders to support student learning. Additionally, they engage in ongoing professional growth by attending workshops, staying informed about educational research, and contributing a community of practice. This domain highlights the importance of building strong connections beyond the classroom to enhance the overall educational experience. So last domain is competencies on personal growth and development and professional. Personal growth and professional development competences involve educators continually enhancing their own skills, knowledge, and reflective practices. This includes a commitment to lifelong learning, self-assessment, and staying abreast of educational advancement. Skilled professionals engage in reflective practices, seeking feedback and adapting teaching approaches based on the experience. Embracing a growth mindset, educators continually strive to improve their effective and contribute positive to educational field. So next is Competency Framework for Teachers in Southeast Asia, or CFTC. So to be at par with the other teachers in the ASEAN, it would be important that you should also know about the competencies required to enable you to teach among other Asian countries. So here are the 4 competencies of CFT or C. First is knowing and understand what to teach. So as a teacher, napaka-importante that we have a deep understanding sa ating mga tinuturo. Effective teachers not only have command of content knowledge but also awareness on how to convey complex concepts in a way that engage support during students' learning. Second is helping students to learn. Helping students to learn involves employing effective teaching strategies, creating engaging learning environment, and recognizing the diverse learning styles. Skilled educators provide clear expectations, use varied instructional methods, and offer opportunities to active students' participation. They also adapt to students' needs, provide constructive feedback, and foster a positive and supportive atmosphere that encourages curiosity and critical thinking. Ultimately, the goal is to empower students to take an active role in their own learning journey. Third and fourth competencies is engaging the community and becoming a better teacher. Engaging the community involves building partnerships with parents, local organizations, and community members to support students' holistic development. To become a better teacher, continuously professional development is essential. This includes attending workshops, collaborating with colleagues, seeking feedback, and staying informed about educational advancement. By connecting with the community and investing in personal growth, educators enhance their teaching effectiveness and contribute positively to the broader educational system. So next is the Philippine Qualification Framework, or PQF6 level of outcomes. So knowledge, skills, and VA10. Graduate possess a broad level of coherent knowledge and skills in the field of study of for professional work, teaching, and lifelong learning. Next is application, considering a knowledge, skills, and values. Application of professional work or teaching in a broad range of discipline and or further studies. Lastly is degree of independence in workplace. Independent or as a teacher or in term of related field. Next is the new features of teacher education curricula. So after considering local and global conditions, the Commission on Higher Education approved through a Commission Memorandum Order Program Standards and Guidelines, or CMO-PSG, the offering of the new teacher consideration degrees to prepare teachers in the basic education. The degree programs are anchored on the principles of OP, the PQF framework, the K-12 curricula for basic education, and the general education courses for college degrees. To address the needed teacher quality for 21st, the different degree program will produce future-ready teachers in basic education. New and enhanced courses are included in the curriculum. So here are the new features of the teacher education curricula. First is all teachers will be trained on how to use technologies for teaching and learning courses, technology and teaching for learning. Integrating technology into teacher training courses such as technology and teaching learning is crucial for preparing future educators. This ensures they acquire the necessary skills to leverage technology effectively in the classroom. Training should focus on using digital tools for instructional delivery, student engagement, assessment. Additionally, educators should learn to adapt to evolving technologies to stay current and enhance the learning experience to their students. Second is, all future teachers are enhanced skills and assessment of learning outcomes. Courses Assessment 1 and Assessment 2. So, equipping future teacher will enhance assessment skills through courses like Assessment 1 and 2 is essential. These courses should cover various assessment methods, data analysis, and interpretation of learning outcomes. Effective assessment practice help educators coach students' understanding, tailor instructions, and provide meaningful feedback. By emphasizing assessment skills, future teachers contribute to creating a more responsive and student-centered learning environment. Third is, experiential learning courses will be more focused on the application of theory, practice, and varied contexts. Courses Field Study 1, Field Study 2, and Teaching Internship. So courses like Field Study 1, Field Study 2, and Teaching Internship, they play a crucial in emphasizing experiential learning. These courses should provide future teachers with opportunities to apply theoretical knowledge in diverse real-world concepts. Practical experiences such as field studies and teaching internships allow educators in training to develop practical skills, refine teaching methods, and adapt to complexity of actual classroom setting. This hands-on approach enhances the transition from theory to effective process and varied educational environment. Next is number 4. All future teacher in the elementary level will be prepared to teach all students areas good manners and right conduct in the mother tongue. So, that sounds like a comprehensive approach to elementary education, ensuring teachers are equipped to teach a broad range of subjects, including values like good manners and right conduct, along with a focus of the mother tongue. Fifth is there are 2 degree programs that prepare teachers to teach both in the elementary and secondary levels. Degrees: Bachelor of Physical Education, BPED, Bachelor of Technical Vocational Teacher, or BTV TED. So, it is interesting to see the inclusion of Bachelor of Physical Education, or BPED, and Bachelor of Technical Vocational Teacher Education programs, preparing teachers for both elementary and secondary levels. This program likely provide a versatile skill set for educators across different age groups and subjects. Six is a new degree is offered for the Teaching and Culture and Arts, Bachelor of Culture and Arts Education. Next is a new degree is offered for Teaching and Culture Arts, Bachelor of Culture and Arts Education. So, the introduction of Bachelor of Cultural and Arts Education degree seems like a positive step towards emphasizing the importance of teaching culture and arts. It suggests a specialized focus on nurturing educators who can effectively impart knowledge in these creative and cultural domains. 7 is 2 straight degree program which were formerly a specialization in BEd before are offered now to prepare teachers who will teach early in childhood education and special education courses, Bachelor in Early Childhood and Bachelor in Special Education. So, expanding the options with distinct programs like Bachelor in Early Childhood and Bachelor in Special Education indicates a dedicated effort to better prepare teachers for the unique demand of early childhood education and special education. The specialization reflects a commitment to addressing diverse educational needs. Lastly is all other original courses will be enhanced. So, enhancing all other original courses suggests a commitment to continuous improvement in the overall teacher preparation curriculum, ensuring that educators receive an updated and comprehensive training to meet evolving educational needs.
Once again, good morning everyone. So the continuation of my topic is all about course contents to achieve the outcomes. What contents should be taught to prepare prospective teachers in their future jobs? Course contents are means to an end of achieving the outcomes. These are theories, principles, generalizations, concepts, and ideas. There are 3 major clusters of subjects or course which provide the contents of the degree programs. So, Cluster 1, Professional Education Courses. These are courses that are common to all degrees which will provide a rock or foundation of becoming a teacher. The course title are as follows. So, letter A, Foundation or Theories and Concepts. This cluster provides foundations such as philosophy, psychology, history, and sociology. Example of these courses are the Child and Adolescent Learning Principles, the Teaching Professions, the Teacher and the Community, School Culture and Organizational Leadership, and lastly, Foundation of Special and Inclusive Education. Letter B, Pedagogical Content Knowledge. The subjects will provide foundation, theory, and practice in the different aspects of teaching. So, the course title are Facilitating Learner-Centered Teaching and Learning. Next is Assessment in Learning 1. Second is Assessment in Learning 2. Third is Technology for Teaching and Learning 1. The Teacher and the School Curriculum. And lastly, Building and Enhancing New Literacies across the curriculum. Letter C, Experiential Learning Courses. These are subjects that bring together theory and practice. So, example of the course title are Field Study 1, which means observation of teaching and learning in actual school environment. Field Study 2, participation and teaching assistantship. And lastly, the teaching internship. So, this course title, we will encounter this when we will be coming on fourth year student. So, this course title, dito natin to makikita kapag nasa fourth year level na tayo. Next is the cluster 2, major course. So, major subjects are listed for every degree programs as attached in the CMO. So, these are the major courses. And in cluster 3, electives. Any additional subjects in other degree programs for teacher education can be offered as electives. So when we say electives, these are subjects such as PE, arts, music, and these electives makes up the total number of units to complete our desired degree. So, ito yung magiging basihan natin kung makukuha natin or ma-achieve natin yung degree natin, kasi hindi natin makukuha yung degree natin kapag hindi natin na-take yung mga electives subjects. So, next is pedagogical approaches to deliver the content and achieve the outcomes. So, the uniqueness of teaching future teachers is that the delivery of strategy and methods come in two layers. The first layer will enable to learners who are college students to desired learning outcomes of the lesson. And the second layer is to find a strategy that will teach the content in the future workplace, which is the basic education. In other words, the pedagogy utilized should be teaching how to teach. So, we as a future teacher, we need to know teaching. Teaching is how we will have strategy on becoming a good teacher in the future. So, in pedagogical approaches to deliver the content and achieve outcomes, there are four modes in delivery. The first is face-to-face. So, face-to-face is a traditional delivery mode where the teacher and the students are physically present to hold classes in a designated places. So, face-to-face classes, it is usual for us college students. Second is distance learning or remote learning, a delivery mode where the students and teachers are not physically present in one designated place or classroom. Example is printed module. So, makikita natin to sa mga elementary students, like binibigyan lang sila ng mga printed modules for them to study in their houses, in their respective houses. Next is the blended learning or flexible learning. This is a combination of the face-to-face and the distance learning. The whole course will be using the two delivery modes and should be reflected in the curriculum syllabi. So, example of this blended learning or flexible learning, of this is what we're doing right now. This is an example of blended learning or flexible learning, because sometimes we will conduct face-to-face classes and sometimes we conduct online classes. Next is experiential learning or lifelong learning. Following the theory of learning by doing allows the learners to experience learning firsthand. Sometimes it is also called immersion, apprenticeship, or practicum. So, example of this, we will see this in graduating students. So next is assessment in learning to provide evidence for the achieved learning outcome. The new teacher education curricula utilize multiple assessment methods in and off learning. Since assessment is used to determine the progress of learning, which is formative, and the mastery of learning, which is the summative, Multiple ways of doing it is necessary. Thus, 2 courses about assessment are included in the new teacher curricula for all the degree programs. These are the assessment in teaching 1 and assessment in teaching 2. So this title was 'di ba, napagdaanan na natin to noong last year, second year, yung assessment in teaching 1 and assessment in teaching 2. So, continuation, traditional assessment theories, principles, and tools are taken in assessment in teaching 1, and authentic and technology-aided assessment is taken in the course assessment in teaching 2. In the new teacher education curricula, the desired learning outcomes, the contents, the teaching, delivery, and the assessment should be constructively aligned and interacting as the figure below. So, we have a figure below which we can read as pi, and the pi represents as planning. So, I will read the definition. In curriculum, planning includes the formulation of the desired outcome for course or lesson. Then, this should be aligned with the appropriate content and methods in the implementation. And finally, evaluation, which will determine whether the desired outcomes have been achieved. So, there should be a connection between the planning, the implementation, and the evaluation for us to know if the desired outcomes have been achieved. And that would be all. Thank you.